Hello everyone and welcome to WGBS TV Live, brought to you by SupermanHomepage.com, the #1 Superman fan site in the world. My name is Steve Eunice. In this, our July 24th, 2018 show, we're going to be covering a range of topics including everything that came out of San Diego Comic-Con this past weekend, but we'll also be turning to you to take your questions and comments on any particular Superman topic you'd like to discuss. And to let you know how all that works and how you can get involved in tonight's show, before he ducks out of the screen again, let me introduce you to my co-host, Mr. Michael Bailey. Hey, Mike.
Now I had to put my glasses on. I know they were already gone. Now, if you are watching this live, you are either doing it via our Facebook page or directly on our website. Seeing as how we're beaming this live across the internet and therefore around the planet Houston, we'd love to hear from Superman fans from right across the world. So to call in and talk to us tonight, you'll need to use Skype. Open up Skype, search for the Superman homepage, and send us a message saying you'd like to chat with us live tonight, and we'll try to get you in the second half hour of our show.
Yes, and don't forget, for those of you tuning in live via Facebook to watch tonight's show, below that video or next to that video, we invite you to join in and chat with fellow fans. Post your comments, ask questions, all that kind of stuff. Get involved with the show, and Michael and I will keep an eye on those comments to respond to them as necessary. So get involved. And a huge thank you to our sponsors and patrons, Tina Murray, Douglas Meacham, and Henry Bernstein. We appreciate your support. Well, Mike, it's been a busy week in the world of Superman. How has your personal week been?
Just as busy. We are in the busiest season at work. And while everyone was having a good time in San Diego, I was dealing with people getting ready to go back to school. So I think they won on this one. I really do.
There you go. So a busy week for all involved. And as I said, San Diego Comic-Con took place at the San Diego Convention Center this past weekend from Wednesday, I think it was preview night, and Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And it was a very busy year this year with lots happening in the world of Superman. While we don't have any Superman movie news to talk about, there was a lot happening with the movie side of the DC Universe, and then there was Supergirl, Krypton, there was Young Justice Outsiders, there was the comic book side of things, there was merchandise galore, it was Superman, so just, Supergirl, Krypton, all that kind of stuff, all Superman related, so lots to get through for tonight's program.
But wow, isn't it great that there were two DC movie trailers and both of them looked amazing?
Yes, indeed. The Aquaman trailer looked really good. There was a lot to kind of absorb in that one. And then the Shazam trailer had a lot of Superman and DC Universe Easter eggs, if you like, in there. A lot of involvement from those films, a lot of reference to those previous films, with Superman being very prominent in the background. We'll talk about that as well. But that one looked a lot of fun. It looked very light-hearted. And personally, I was like more interested and excited by the Shazam trailer. But when I showed them both to my wife, she was really keen on the Aquaman one.
My wife was keen on the Aquaman one too. I'm kind of curious about what the commonality of that one is.
Don't know. So we will get into what happened there at Hall H at San Diego Convention Center, where the DC Films panel and exhibition was being put on. And as you said, the Aquaman and Shazam trailers were shown. I think there was a bit of Wonder Woman footage maybe also shown for the second Wonder Woman film. But their banner welcoming everyone to that panel was a banner that read, "Welcome to the worlds of DC." Now, there hasn't been any official announcement saying that this is what they're calling the universe of films now. Everyone's kind of latched onto the DC Extended Universe, which was just a fan-made or a reporter-made title that was never officially used by Warner Brothers. And neither is this Worlds of DC an official announcement of any kind, except for that banner. But it is interesting that they used this particular banner to promote. Why have my windows all disappeared here? Let's see, here we go. There's the World of DC. Welcome to the Worlds of DC was the banner that was displayed there. Now, I like the Worlds of DC as a moniker for the movies because it shows that there's more than just a universe, it's a multiverse, and that is possible there, where films don't have to tie in to the same world as what Zack Snyder has set up with, you know, Batman v Superman, Man of Steel, Justice League, Wonder Woman, and all those films that have been out to date.
Yeah, it was always a little weird. DC, I think, and Warner Brothers from the very beginning has been kind of cagey about how everything fits together, and it was like a whole like will they, won't they, will they, won't they. And if the worlds of DC is what they're going for, and they can put out movies like Shazam and like Aquaman, and we've got the Wonder Woman sequel coming up, and every once in a while you have a Justice League where all of these characters come together, I think they'll have a little bit more success than trying to force it like they were. That was, I think, the problem with Batman v Superman and with Justice League in general, is that they seem to want this ready-made universe without having to do all the legwork for it. And I understand that. You know, Marvel has been very successful over the past 10 years now, we can say, because Iron Man came out in 2008. And it seems like DC has always been on the back foot, whereas now I think they're finally coming out with a strong slate of movies that people can be happy with. And, you know, trailers that kind of emphasize the grandeur of everything. You know, the Aquaman trailer was very epic in scope, and it seems like that's going to be a pretty packed film. And the Shazam trailer, you know, this is very much the Jeff Johns, Gary Frank Shazam take, except with maybe Billy not being as much of a jerk as he was in the comics. But the worlds of DC fits better because then it's a more inclusive universe at that point. You know, you don't have to watch 15 movies if you don't want to. You can just watch Shazam. You can just watch Aquaman. Now, I'm sure they want everyone to go to everything. But, again, this isn't official. You know, the fan press is making, I think, a mountain out of a molehill with this one.
Yeah, it's not that big a deal. Like Mike's suggestion in the comments, he says the DC Cinematic Multiverse is not a bad moniker as well. So the thing is, DC Films is the name of the unit that is producing these films. And, I mean, that's as good a name as any, DC Films. I mean, just shows that they're films based on DC Comics characters. So that's probably the quickest and easiest version of a title if you want one. So, you know, I think that is probably the best one to use. And that is an official name. I mean, that's the name of, you know, the films that DC and Warner Brothers are producing. You know, that's as good as one as any. But the Worlds of DC was the banner that they showed there, and it kind of gained some traction with everyone reporting on it. And then some people started accusing me of creating a false story on Twitter. People saying, "Oh, that's not true. They never said that." And I said, "Yeah, well, read the story. I never said that. They said that." So it's
you're wanting people on Twitter to read beyond the headline, and I don't think they can handle that.
So true. So that is where we're at with the title of these films anyway. It's just a bit of a, you know, pick which one you like at the moment kind of thing. But there's people talking in the comments about the Snyder Cut still getting some traction as far as people calling for it. And Henry Cavill came out in a interview and said that he weighed in on the topic, and he says that he doesn't think it would make a difference if there was a Snyder Cut released. He says, I think it might be entertaining for sure and go, oh, look, now I've scratched that itch, but it's not going to change anything that I can think of. It's not going to make huge amounts of money all of a sudden for a studio. And he says, I don't know if it actually exists, so the only way I can look at it is as a business model, and I don't know what difference that would make. He says there are stories to be told which need to be told and adjustments that can be made, but that's not going to make any difference. They're not going to release a Snyder Cut into cinemas, so they're not going to suddenly make any extra few $100 million off it. So it'd be interesting to see what the difference is, but I'd rather focus on the future rather than what's been. So he's kind of like saying, hey, just put it aside. It is what it is. Yeah, would it scratch an itch for some people? Sure, but it's not going to happen because Warner Brothers aren't really going to make a few $100 million off of it, which they probably need to do if they're going to put any kind of effort into finishing an unfinished cut. And that's what it was. People go, oh, the Snyder Cut exists. And as you said on a Facebook post, was very well written, I thought, that these people behind the scenes, these people who worked on the film, are really stirring the pot.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, I was joking the other day that Zack Snyder's kind of like, you know, the girlfriend or boyfriend that you break up with, and then they just keep posting old pictures of your relationship on the internet, on Facebook and on whatever. What is that social media network he's been posting a lot on? I can't keep track of it. Instagram and all that. But the thing is that you do have these, people who work behind the scenes, saying, well, something did exist, but what was it? And the consensus I've gotten out of everything is that it was a work print. And I don't know if people have actually seen what a work print is. I've gotten, and of course this was 20 years ago, I had the chance to watch like a work print of From Dusk Till Dawn that a friend of mine got through very sketchy means. And, you have a little counter at the bottom because it's telling you how much time has passed since the film is. Effects aren't done. And with this movie where your villain is like 100% CGI, they probably had footage of him working with the actors, but nothing is finished. And you would have to, like you said, dump millions of dollars into finishing the CGI that needs to be finished, doing the music, and I don't think the WB really wants to do that at this point. I don't think it's in their best interest. I think Henry saying it lends it a little more credibility because he's got a dog in this race. I mean, he was in the film. So if somebody in the film, especially such a pivotal part of the film, is just like, we need to move on, that to me says, I think that's what the official position of Warner Brothers is.
Yeah.
Especially since he wants to get back into harness, so to speak, and, or the flying rig, I guess would be a better way to say that. So I don't want to tell anybody how to do their fandom. It's not my job to police you unless you're acting like a jerk. And I think most of the people that want a Snyder Cut aren't jerks. I think they're people that genuinely love what Snyder did in Batman v Superman and want to see that vision brought forward. But at the same time, too much has happened already now that you can't go back. This isn't BVS where it was scenes excised from a finished product that are just put back into the movie. This isn't the Donner. This is more like the Donner cut, I would say.
But more.
Where, a little more involved, but does the Donner cut really change Superman 2? And the answer is no. It was a curiosity, and that's all this would be. And are you going to dump millions of dollars into what is essentially just a curio?
Mm-hmm. Well, it'll remain something that fans will keep clamoring for as long as there's rumours out there of its existence. It would be nice if Warner Brothers or Zack Snyder or somebody just came out and said, look, this is why the Snyder Cut will never be released, and just make an end of it. But until that happens, the debate will rage on. Now, still with Henry, he did an interview. He's been doing lots of interviews and press stuff for red carpet stuff for his Mission Impossible Fallout film, which is going to be released in the next week. And he did an interview with News 18 where he spoke about, or he was asked about, what it was like going back to film the Justice League stuff that he needed to film, but while he had the moustache for the Mission Impossible movie, what that was like for him. And here's what he had to say about that in particular. Going to play that video for you right now.
It's enormous amounts of fun. It really is.
Did you break any bones? Any major injuries?
I had no major injuries, actually. No, I had an injury before I started shooting. Quite a few months before I started shooting, but that didn't flare up at all, and I was totally fine. I got off lucky.
You know, a lot of press has been devoted to the mustache, of course, and the havoc it created. But what was it like for you? I mean, you know, shooting Justice League with the mustache, was it inconvenient? Everyone else has had a say.
No, it wasn't inconvenient. I thought it was a great piece for the character, and I enjoyed it enormously. For the reshoots, of course, it was weird seeing myself in the suit with a mustache, but I enjoyed having a mustache around my sex. I really did.
So there you have it. There's Henry talking about feeling a little bit weird wearing the Superman costume, having the moustache there on his face while wearing the Superman costume. And he goes on in that interview to talk about the different physical workouts required between Superman and his role as August Walker for the Mission Impossible film. And that's interesting if you're into physical fitness.
Yeah, it reminds me of a story I heard about Arnold Schwarzenegger during the pre-production of Conan the Destroyer. He was working out with a sword, and the director and everybody really didn't like the way he looked, and so he basically pointed to all of the things that he was going to change on his body, and came back 3 weeks later, and he looked like they wanted him to look. So if you've got trainers and you know what you're doing, and you have a little more experience in this than I do lately, you can basically do weird things with your body and build up different muscle groups that'll make it look different. And, you know, from the trailers that I've seen of the Mission Impossible film, you know, he's supposed to be a block of a human being. And Superman's got a little more of a superhero physique, so to speak. Yeah. And it's interesting that he's able to put his body through that. I wonder if he's like Hugh Jackman, though, and just wants to eat pasta again. And just
want to get
not so much fat, but just not have to worry about every calorie that you consume and spending so much time at the gym.
So, in the comments, Mike's saying he wants to see a pic of Henry wearing the Superman costume with the moustache on from those pickup scenes. I think that would be a fascinating there's got to be photos out there, surely, or even the footage itself, the raw footage.
I wonder if the WB is keeping that secret because they want to like maintain the mystique that he didn't have it. You know, Superman with a mustache.
It's gonna leak.
Look kind of like Freddie Mercury wearing a Superman suit, basically.
Yeah, it's gonna leak sooner or later, surely.
Oh yeah, somebody's gonna be on their last day at the job, and they're just gonna blow that out on Twitter, and that thing's gonna light on fire. So for
sure, everyone will say it's a Photoshop job. No one will believe that it's actually real, but we'll have to wait and see. Now, speaking of Comic-Con and continuing on with the theme of Comic-Con, there was I was talking about blowing up the internet to some degree. Terry Hatcher went she basically cosplayed as Lois Lane. She took to the convention floor in a grey suit with a press badge and a microphone, Daily Planet microphone, and she was actually filming something for Nerdist.com. But she was there to celebrate the 10th anniversary of her film Coraline, and while she was doing that, she was around the floor, convention floor, dressed as Lois Lane, and so many people just walked past. She didn't get mobbed at all because no one kind of really believed that it was her. They just kind of, you do a double take. There's so many people who, dress up in all sorts of get-up. But here's a bit of the video of her getting around as Lois Lane at Comic-Con.
I'm here at Comic-Con in San Diego. It's a beautiful day, and I'm looking for Superman. My job has taken me on assignments all over the planet, but I've never made it to San Diego Comic-Con until now. My sources tell me I should be able to find a certain flying extraterrestrial hero somewhere around here, so I'm going to hit the ground running and see if I can find him. I've been here for over an hour, and I'm looking for Superman. Do you know where I can find him?
The last time that I saw Superman, I believe him and Batman had gotten together.
But you think he's around?
I think he's around. I don't think he's in Metropolis. I'm pretty sure he's in Gotham right now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Hey, Batman! You know that I have to ask you, what's the deal with you and Superman?
I respect what he does, but we have some differences. We'll work that out together.
Yeah.
So there you have it. There's just a bit of the video. I don't want to play the whole thing there for Nerdist.com, but that's a bit of the video there that Terry Hatcher put together filming on the convention floor at San Diego Comic-Con. And wow, you know, that's really cool of her. I think so many people were just blown away by that.
Yeah, I you know, we've kind of talked about this before. I think she and Dean Cain have gotten to the point, and Jack Larson and Noel Neill kind of had a similar process where enough time has passed where you don't feel like you're under the shadow of something and you can have fun with it.
Yeah.
And doing that, and yeah, she was doing it for the Nerdist, so it's not like Terry Hatcher just decided on her own to dress up as Lois Lane and look for Superman. But it's stinking adorable, is what it is. The fact that she wore the hair like the first season and a couple of 2 seasons and a couple episodes was nice. I'm surprised that it wasn't more tied into celebrating the 25th anniversary of Lois and Clark. Though Coraline was a good movie, I won't deny that. But it's just, you know, that's a big deal that it's been a quarter of a century since that show premiered.
Yes,
Almost.
indeed. So, yeah, well done to Terry Hatcher for doing that, and the full video is up on our website if you want to check it out. All right, well, continuing on with kind of moving into the TV side of things, but still from Comic-Con, the Supergirl TV series had had a panel and a Q&A and everything like that, but just before Comic-Con, the CW released this video, which is titled Day of Rest, and it's all about Supergirl and Charmed, the new series, now being on Sunday. So check out this video, Day of Rest.
It is said that Sunday is a day of rest.
A time to relax your mind.
To take it easy. To chill. To decompress and forget about all the problems in the world. Yeah, right.
The CW Sunday premieres October 14th with all new episodes of Supergirl and the new series Charmed.
Is the new series of Charmed, and which will be back to back with Supergirl, which will now go to Sunday nights at 8 p.m. So just a little kind of a cute little video put together there with Supergirl and Brainy being the stars of that one.
Yeah, obvious green screen is obvious, but
and little rabbits in the background.
Yeah, I like that they're having fun with the promotional stuff, that it's not all real stuffy.
Yeah.
I kind of like that better than the actual promo that we got from San Diego for the show.
Which, speaking of which, they did release one called Heroes and Villains, which shows all the CW shows, but they also then released this Season 4 promo video, or what was supposed to be a Season 4 promo video for Supergirl, and I think more towards the end of it is more that it was a bit of an interesting bit, so let's have a look at that video, and I know you want to comment on it, Michael, so here is the Supergirl Comic-Con trailer that was released this week.
The universe is vast. They come from outer space. They take our jobs, our culture. They steal from us. They hurt us. Look what they've done to our city, our country, our world. A wave of destruction this planet has never seen. We don't need their heroes. When humans root out the invaders, we can be safe again. We need to stand up and be heard. Because divided we fall.
It's starting.
Agent of Liberty.
This is my home. And my mission is to protect it.
So there you have it. That is the Supergirl trailer.
Yeah, I would have liked more footage from not past seasons.
Mm-hmm. A lot of season 3 footage there.
And I'm still mad about Agent Liberty. I did nothing to make me happier about it, because, it's not that the actor isn't talented. I mean, that whole speech, he's supposed to be this great orator. To be fair, he's better than certain real-life people in that position. But I think he's got better writers and more of a drama coach. So that's probably where that is. But it's just, I get that they're trying to further the whole, social commentary of the show, and the super armor at the end was kind of cool. You don't know what that means or what it's going to be, but still, I mean, it's not a trailer that, I stood up and went, ooh, that was really cool. It was more like, oh, wow, okay. Well, I'm still going to watch it.
Yeah, and to be clear, Agent Liberty, as we spoke about last week, I think it was, isn't the same character, or isn't the same type of character that has been in the comic books, where he was a hero, not a villain. And here in this version of Supergirl, he appears to be a villain, and is someone who is against the alien threat, as was indicative there in the speech that he gave in that trailer. But the costume at the end for Supergirl, it's not clear whether or not that's Kara's costume or the doppelganger's costume.
Yeah.
So we have to wait and see, what that's all about. We don't know anything more, other than that does appear to be a full body armor costume for a female Supergirl.
It reminded me of the Superman armor from Crisis of the Crimson Kryptonite.
Yeah,
actually,
yeah, it did.
Which I mean, it's a good looking armor, and I will say that Agent Liberty's look is interesting. But again, just not really a fan of the overall concept.
Mm-hmm.
But I went on enough about that last week.
So that's the season 4 stuff for Supergirl. But there is some more news out there with 3 new cast members, 3 new characters announced during the Comic-Con panel for Supergirl, including Nicole Maines as the first transgender superhero on TV. She will be playing Nia Null, the newest addition to the Catco reporting team, a soulful young transgender woman with a fierce drive to protect others. Nia's journey this season means fulfilling her destiny as the superhero dreamer, much like Kara came into her own as Supergirl. Thoughts?
Yeah, that's a Legion of Superheroes character.
Right, yes.
Dream Girl. So that's an interesting take on that. But, I am a big believer that representation matters. And I'm glad that they're taking this step with the show.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the right show to do it with. So, and I have a very good friend that, kind of burst into tears, upon thinking about it, because it meant something to her. So I'm excited for this. I think it's going to be an interesting step. and I'm really not looking forward to jerks on the internet.
Yeah, it's going to be
expressing their displeasure.
A hot button topic. The other one is Colonel Haley, played here by April Parker Jones, a hardline career military woman. She lives and dies by the orders of her commanding officers. Dedicated to her country, she always acts in its best interest, even if it's not her own.
Not overly familiar with that sounds like it's something I should recognize, but I'm just kind of blanking on it. But more than anything, a really good kind of opposite for John, really.
Yeah.
So even though he's not the head of the DEO anymore.
And then the third character is Manchester Black, based on the iconic DC character, played by David Ajala, is the type of guy who brings a knife to a gunfight and still walks away the winner. With a dark past, he easily deflects the brutality of his mission with his charm and sense of humour. Yeah, an interesting choice on character to bring in, and not necessarily the British version, unless he is British, but not the kind of Manchester Black that we've seen in both comic books and animated movie form.
The people who write this copy are really happy and excited for the word iconic, when I don't think they think that means what they think that means. Because they said that Rain was an iconic, legendary character as well. Manchester Black was obnoxious in the comics.
Yep.
He returned briefly during the Rebirth era, which was a really good storyline. But again, it seems like they're taking a name, going almost down a similar road, and then taking a hard right. So it'll be interesting to find out if he's somebody that can get into your head. If he has that type of power. But no, it's just, I like that they're introducing new characters. I like that they're freshening up the cast. Jeremy Jordan's not going to be a regular this year.
That's right.
And Brainiac 5, and I love the fact that he walked around all day in a Legion shirt. That was really cool. But I'm looking forward to this season. I hate to say this because it sounds like they owe me something, which they don't. I could stop watching it well, not really, because I'm doing this, but they're going to have to really win me over with a lot of these concepts. Not the transgender character, but the Manchester Black and the Agent Liberty.
Yeah, we'll see where that goes. And let's be fair, Manchester Black really became iconic, if you want to call that, just because of the storyline that he was involved in, being, What's So Funny About Truth, Justice, and the American Way, which became a classic story. And it just happened to be that Manchester Black was the lead character in that group of villains. And so beyond that, he's not really iconic, other than the fact that he's in an iconic story.
Yeah, it was that and Ending Battle.
Yes.
Where he died.
Yes.
So it's just... I guess Manchester Black from an iconic Superman story might have been a better way to phrase that.
And yes, he was. That story was adapted in an animated movie, but I think the comic book is a better version of the story than the animated film.
Yes, overall, yes, I'll agree with that.
Okay, well, let's move on to other things that happen at Comic-Con, and still staying with the TV side of things. Krypton also had its own special presentation and Q&A, and there were a couple of cool videos that were released this week in conjunction with Sci-Fi releasing them in conjunction with Krypton's involvement at Comic-Con. And one of those was a thing about karaoke and the Krypton class saying who stands out as the best singer in the group. Here's a bit of that video.
I think the best singer out of the cast is Cameron, because we did karaoke yesterday and he outsung me. But he didn't outdance me.
So best attitude in our cast, I think, is undoubtedly Colin Sam and General Zod. He's awesome. He comes every day ready to get into it.
I think Raz Hardika, who plays Kem, is the life of the party because he is so funny.
I think that Wallace Day is the best singer because she blew me away at the karaoke bus.
I think the life and soul of the party is, I'm going to have to say Sean, but don't tell him because his head will get real big.
The best singer I've discovered is Cameron Cuff. I heard him on that sci-fi karaoke bus last night and I was highly impressed.
So there you have it. There's a bit of the Krypton cast talking about who's the best at different things. And then during the panel that they were released, during the panel that they were speaking about at Krypton, at San Diego Comic-Con about Krypton, they announced that Lobo will join the series when it returns for Season 2. It says, from the peaceful planet of Zarnia, Lobo was born born a devil in the midst of utopia. Loosely translated from his native language, his name means he who devours your entrails and thoroughly enjoys it. As a teenager, he single-handedly slaughtered his entire civilization, becoming the last of his race. Now this mercenary roams the universe on his motorcycle, getting paid for what he loves most, murder and mayhem.
I was not expecting that. I think it's a good character to bring into the show because he is a wild card, and we're now separated from the 90s when Lobo was kind of like the Deadpool for a couple of years. But no, I just think I think that's a good curveball to throw us. And might I say, Cameron may have done well at the karaoke. That cast would have to have some amazing singers to beat Supergirl's cast, because that cast is just full of... I don't even want to get into it. But no, Lobo, I wonder what he's going to look like. I really do. I'm kind of interested. Are they going to go for like that skinny Lobo with the New 52, or are we going to get like the overly muscled guy? There's an actor. He was in an episode of Lois and Clark in the virtual reality episode. The big guy, the villain, actually played Lobo in somebody's student film. So I'm wondering if that's what they're going to go for, like an overly muscled guy. But no, I think Doomsday and Lobo on the same show, on the same season, will be crazy.
It's going to be interesting to see what they go with that, but looking forward to seeing Krypton Season 2. And no, I don't think they're going to do a Krypton musical episode. A lot of these actors come from Broadway, come from other backgrounds, and have the ability to sing, and are multi-talented. So it's not surprising that they show off their talents in other ways when they're between scenes. Just like they have their issues when it comes to remembering their lines, as we saw in some bloopers that were shown this week as well, thanks to Sci-Fi's YouTube channel. Have a look.
Valve Hellcell, for rebelling against the lawful authority of the state and His Holy Eminence. No, sorry. The Holy Sovereignty. Carrying on.
What's the line?
What the f*** is the line?
I've forgotten the line.
What's the line?
And again, bollocks, against His Holy Sovereignty, the eminence of...
So I'm just supposed to wait, me.
I'm not going to do that again.
Yeah. Okay. What's going to happen to her?
She'll be X. Okay.
So there's just some of the video. Again, if you want to see the whole thing, head to our website where you can watch the video in full of all the bloopers that they released there in that video package from the Krypton TV series. And it's just so funny that how many bollocks you get from the UK actors.
Yeah, I am both not surprised and surprised at the same time. But it's really weird seeing the guy in the full Brainiac makeup just kind of breaking character for a second. It's just like, pulling that off was a lot of him just acting. And if you just, because otherwise it's just a green guy in a funky outfit.
Yeah, so that'll be cool if they can include more of that kind of stuff on a DVD box set or whatever of Krypton Season 1. I think that's always fun to see these behind-the-scenes things happen. So check out the full video on our website, along with some other promo videos that were released this past week as well. Now, also coming out from Comic-Con, and we're just powering through tonight's episode, Young Justice Outsiders also had its Comic-Con debut and thrilled fans with a video that highlighted key moments from the first 2 seasons, but also gave us a look at some of the highly anticipated new season. I will play a bit of that video now as well. So here is what they showed at Comic-Con for Young Justice, a sneak peek.
I'm not happy about this. He knows we're trying to leave the life behind.
Don't blame Nightwing. The decision was mine. Babe, you're freaking out over nothing. What could go wrong?
Welcome back.
Artemis!
Aqualad has been on a deep cover mission for months, infiltrating Black Manta's troops, the Light, and the Reach. We faked Artemis's death. In fact, Artemis is Tigress.
What was I thinking? Wally and I really had something special together. Leaving the whole hero thing behind so we could just be normal. But when Nightwing called, I couldn't say yes fast enough.
Seems ticked off. Ticked. Get it?
Coming with Young Justice Outsiders, which is a long-awaited and just we can't get enough of Young Justice. I can't tell you how excited I am that there is a 3rd season happening. Just disappointed that it'll be on the DC Universe digital service, which is not something that will be available to people outside of the US, but I'm sure it will escape somehow.
Yeah, and I talked to some people that got to play with the demo they had for the app. And what they told me is for example, Action Comics, all the comics that are available through the app to read, was basically every issue of Action that's available on Comixology right now.
Oh, wow.
So you have, hundreds of issues of the book. So I'm wondering if that part of it's going to be a little more extensive, because they said it's going to be curated. And I wonder if they're, kind of downplaying how much is going to be there. But, everything I've heard about this service, even though I really hated the Titans trailer, to be honest. The Young Justice trailer looked really good, but the Titans trailer I think they're trying too hard to be Daredevil from Netflix. But, everything else about this thing that came out of San Diego just had me excited.
And there were details released about the subscription for DC Universe. It will cost you $75 or $74.99 for a annual subscription. Or if you want to choose to pay monthly, that's $7.99 per month. And I think there's currently a promo going that you'll get an additional 3 months free if you subscribe now. But $7.99, so $8 a month, is not a big fee, really, when you consider what's included.
And I think the reason they're able to do that is it's not Netflix having to pay licensing. They're doing it directly. So unless there's, some kind of there's of course royalties to the actors and such.
Yeah.
But I think it's so much cheaper for them to do it themselves. And they were talking that at first it's only going to be the first seasons of certain shows, but it's going to be all the Christopher Reeve films, all the 90s Batman movies. Lois. They mentioned Lois and Clark. They had mentioned the Adventures of Superboy.
George Reeves, I think, also the series is also
the Adventures of Superman. So this is like this is what I wanted. This is what I wanted to hear. I didn't want it to just be like a handful of movies and some original stuff. It really seems like they're trying to make this, okay, we're going to do this. We're going to do this right. It really is your universe, and you get to watch whatever you want for $8 a month or $75 a year, which translates to what, like almost $5-6 a month. I mean, that's insane. I mean, it's just, I remember sitting at work reading that going, well, dropping Hulu. I won't be needing that anymore because this is probably going to suck up all my time. Plus the comics. The comics is the big part of this.
Is it new comic books or is it just like collected stories?
Again, like what I was told from the demo is that it was, I don't know how new they were, but it was basically everything from Action Comics that's currently available on Comixology, and I don't know if you've taken a peek, but they've gotten up to like issue 100 of Action, 1 to 100 of the Superman stories, and they're putting out a lot more Silver Age. So if it gets to the point where all of these comics that they have digitally mastered, basically, that they put up on Comixology, I mean, that's worth $8 a month by itself. So to get original series, plus classic stuff, plus comics, plus the access to the, the merchandise, like these Justice League figures, which looked amazing. I mean, this is what we've been asking DC for years, and not only are they giving it to us, they're giving it to us in a bigger way than Marvel is. And I think this is going to be a big win for them, to sound like a proper, YouTube, Facebook Live commentator. I think this is going to be big for DC.
Yeah, I think it's going to be fantastic, especially for US fans, and hopefully the service, once it's launched in the US, can branch out to be available to the wider community outside of the US, because, I mean, Netflix, Hulu, all those kinds of things are available. I've got Netflix at the moment, so it's something that we can all tap into. And there's no reason that they shouldn't be able to, maybe after an initial launch phase, make it available to the wider community outside of the US, because there are fans worldwide who would love to be able to participate in this service.
Yeah, I honestly probably think it has to do with international licensing at this point, and that kind of thing. Maybe there's different things for different countries that they have to kind of jump through some hoops on.
Maybe.
But they're getting, I mean, it took them this long to roll it out, so I on one hand, this is something I kind of relate to, because there's stuff on British Netflix that isn't available on US Netflix, for example.
Okay.
So it's just the different rights issues and such. So
makes sense.
I'm sure it'll get sorted out eventually, though.
Yeah, looking forward to that if it happens. Now, you mentioned the Titans live-action series, which is part of the DC Universe digital service, streaming service, and we're not going to get into the particulars of that because it's not really Superman-related, other than the fact that I got a personal scoop from someone, a source close to the project, telling me that Krypto is set to make an appearance in the first season, and Kryptonite itself is going to be there as well. So, and Superboy can't be that far away if what Jeff Johns is kind of hinting might end up happening. So, might be something in there for Superman fans, but it is very brutal, very violent, and very dark, and it didn't tickle my interest at all. Similar to you, I had similar problems with it.
Yeah, I mean, I get what they're going for. Johns at a panel that same day said they're trying to kind of emulate the maturity that Wolfman and Perez brought to it. But if there are other ways to do that instead of having an iconic character, say F Batman, basically. It's just, and it's the violence that bothers me, because I'm sick of the bone cracking. I'm just tired of that being shorthand for this is a brutal fight. I think there are other ways to do that. I honestly do.
So the Titans TV series will be part, or the live action series will be part of the DC Universe subscription digital service. So if you're keen on that, that will be part of your subscription. All right, well, just moving to the comic book side of things as we get to the last 10 minutes of tonight's program, and I apologise for anyone who was keen on being a caller tonight. Just with everything that's happening with the Comic-Con reporting, we haven't really had an opportunity to get any callers on tonight. But Action Comics received a Guinness World Record title for the longest-running superhero comic book series, and that was issued to Dan Didio and Jim Lee this week at a presentation on the opening of Comic-Con.
There's a certain bit of irony of the two people accepting the award, or the two people that stopped the numbering back in 2011. Still, it's cool. It's I remember watching the video from it and seeing, like them taking the pictures and such. And you had I forget her name. She's one of the people that does the DC videos. You would think I would remember her name because she was sitting there asking me questions for 10 days during that Krypton thing. But no, it's cool. I mean, for American comic books, it is the longest running superhero book, and that is significant. I'm glad that they recognized that. Still weird that it's Didio and Lee accepting it.
Indeed. All right, and still on the comic books, the solicitations for October were released this week, and there's an interesting one there. Superman Blank #1. Celebrate 24-hour Comics Day with the Superman Blank comic. You can write and draw your very own adventure of the Man of Steel in the 16-page comic, which features uncoated 80-pound paper, the same stock used on DC's Blank variant covers. That's ideal for drawing on. What? So you just get a blank comic book cover, blank comic book, with nothing in the pages. You just have to draw it yourself.
I'm actually going to get one and take it to conventions and have
that's what
artists, do sketches and stuff. Or maybe I'm not going to draw my own book. Trust me, that would not go well. Though I will say that since that cover is blank, man, I'm going to be able to get a really nice scan of the Superman logo out of that, because it's the white background, so it'll be really easy in Photoshop to eliminate the background on that.
Indeed.
But no, it's an interesting thing. It's $3.
Yeah, you're paying for the paper.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Well, what was interesting this week, within the solicitations that were released this week, coming out in October, was Action Comics 1004, which I've got the cover of. Where are the solicitations? Right here. Action Comics 1004. A great cover there by Steve Rude. Steve the Dude Rude. Superman confronts Lois Lane and wants answers. Where is John Kent? What happened during Lois's trip into space with Jor-El? Why didn't she contact the Man of Steel when she returned? And most importantly, does she still love him? Or is the world-famous reporter looking to let Clark Kent down easy? Lois and Clark's relationship gets redefined in this issue, illustrated by acclaimed artist Ryan Sook. Great cover. What do you think of the story inside? Is this... Sorry.
I think it's copy meant to get us talking.
Yes.
I doubt it's going to be as dramatic, or as like will they, won't they. The thing I liked best about it, this issue will come with a free digital download. I think they really just need to do that across the board. But that's me being, kind of what's the word I'm looking for? Selfish. Look, I bought...
Relax.
Rebirth. Okay, thank you. You have a way of calming me down, Steve. No, I mean, Action 104 and Superman #4, it's like it's not letting up. It's still interesting. It still has my attention, and I'm still really excited. And that cover is gorgeous.
Yes.
I will say that. That is a beautiful cover. So seeing this the story play out, I'm kind of looking forward to it. And what I like more than anything is that we're not going to have to wait 6 months or 8 months or a year for Lois to return. Now, John's another story altogether, but at least Lois is going to be back.
Now, in the comments, Tina's saying they already have digital downloads. Yes, we know you can buy your comic books digitally. That's what I do. I get them through Comixology, and you can get them through Kindle. You can get them for iBooks. But what Michael's talking about is that when you buy the print edition, you also get a code that gives you a free digital download as well. So it's an additional product with purchase, if you like.
Yeah, Marvel did it for years. They've recently gone to you get a digital code for another book
to
kind of like entice you to read that. But I went through Rebirth buying both, and I can't do that anymore. So give me free stuff, DC.
Now, the other book that, other than the Superman Action Comics 1004, was Superman number 4. And as Superman fights to protect the world from Rogol Zar and the Kryptonian convicts trapped inside the Phantom Zone, the greatest minds on Earth devise a risky plan to return the planet from the deadly prison. With the Earth continuing to crack and crumble, its greatest heroes fall. Can the Man of Steel hold the line and give his adopted world a chance to escape?
You know, if you're going to return Superman to greatness, this is how you do it. I love this idea that all the other heroes have fallen and it's up to Superman to save the day, and it's been so long since DC has had that. I mean, usually it's all the heroes have fallen, so it's Batman that's going to get us through.
Been there, done that a million times.
Nice eye roll there, Steve. Very good.
So the solicitations are up on the website if you want to go through to see everything else that's coming out. Adventures of Super Sons number 3 is in there, as is Supergirl number 23, and more trade paperbacks that have been announced as well. So get into the Superman homepage to check those out. Now, as far as comic books coming out this week, we have Action Comics 1001 coming out this week. And we have the cover for you right there. Sorry, not that one. That's already been shown. There it is. Action Comics 1001 is out this week. It is available in a black and white variant cover. It's also available in 2 different variant covers. There's one there, and there is the other one right there. Also out this week, Doomsday Clock number 6. Finally, it's been delayed so long. It's also available in a variant cover. And there's a couple of trade paperbacks. The DC Universe of Mike Mignola has a Superman story in there. A new edition of Superman for All Seasons. A great story by Jeff Loeb and Tim Sale. And Trinity Volume 3, Dark Destiny, is also out this week.
It's interesting that these stories keep getting into print. Or are kept in print. I mean, one of the solicitations was for a new printing of All-Star Superman. So it seems like there are certain stories they just don't want to leave the public's consciousness. And to be fair, those are good stories to give to people that may not necessarily be that familiar with Superman in the comics. So I don't blame them at all.
Now, before we wrap up tonight's show, we wanted to pay tribute to John Schnepp, the filmmaker responsible for the feature-length documentary The Death of Superman Lives, What Happened. He was a guest on our Radio KL podcast twice, and was a great guy. I met him in person when he and his partner Holly came out to Australia to show the documentary. Sadly, he passed away last week after having a stroke, and we want to pay our condolences to his family and friends. He was a great contributor to the world of Superman, to the world of comic books, and to geekdom all over, and he will be sadly missed. He was a great guy, and even Henry Cavill paid tribute to him on his Instagram account.
Yeah, I mean, we've had, we've talked to a bunch of people, and some interviews were matter of fact, and some were a little more laid back. But with John, you always got the sense that you weren't talking to like a director. You were talking to a guy that likes this material as much as you do. And it's just very sad that he went down like this, and it's especially at 51. Now there's never a good time for someone to pass away, so I'm not suggesting that at all. But he gave us a movie that answered a lot of questions that Superman fans had for years about what this movie was going to be like, and he's the one that did the groundwork, and he's the one that talked to the people. And I mean, that movie is worth it for the John Peters interview alone. So it's very sad. I sometimes people pass away, and I feel bad for their families, but this is a guy that I actually talked to with you, and he was a good guy. So yeah, condolences. Yes, exactly.
Well, that is our show, but before we do sign off, I'd like to thank everyone for watching tonight's episode of WGBS TV Live, and thanks to everyone in the comments who watched live and were participating in the discussions, and a big thank you to my co-host, Michael Bailey. Thanks, Mike.
Pleasure as always, Steve.
A huge thank you to our sponsors and patrons, Tina Murray, Douglas Meacham and Henry Bernstein. And if you want to sponsor the Superman homepage, please head to patreon.com/Superman homepage. You can sponsor our site for as little as $3. The complete 1 hour video of tonight's show will remain available on the Superman homepage website and our Facebook page if you want to watch it back. We'll be back next week, this time, yes, with Scotty V. He'll be back Tuesday, July 31st to join Michael and I at 7:30 p.m. Pacific time for another edition of this show. We look forward to talking with you then. Until then, be sure to check out supermanhomepage.com for all your daily news updates on everything surrounding the Man of Steel. I'm Steve Eunice on behalf of myself and Michael Bailey. Thanks for watching WGBS TV Live, brought to you by supermanhomepage.com.